time is 30 minutes past 10. We sincerely apologize for bringing you the program Abia 360 behind schedule. Despite our political and ethnic affiliations, in as much rather we found ourselves in Abia State, we have also the responsibility to ensure that we project the state. We take it up to the height that people outside the state will be envying the state called Abia, the God's own state. Once again, you're welcome to the program. My name is Moses Ben. The government of Alex Otti came up with bright promises, interesting programs and activities for the people of the state. And one of the things that the governor did after he was sworn in as the executive governor of Abia State was to constitute the Abia State Orientation Agency. He spelled out things that this agency will be doing from time to time to ensure that it achieved the dream and then the mantra of building the new Abia. So our focus this morning on Abia 360 would be on the activities. So far so good since this agency was instituted by the governor. Have we felt the impact of or the objective of constituting this body in the state? So far so good. Putting it on comparison scale, can we say for sure what was happening in the past before this administration? There's been a change from the angle of the people to the governors, policies, programs, and activities of this government. All this will be looked at this morning on Abia 360. To address this issue, we have a veteran, of course, in this business of broadcasting. He's been in the state for a number of years now, and he is the publisher of Candid Reporters. Mr. Kingsley Alozie joins us virtually this morning. Sir, good morning and welcome to Abia 360. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Moses.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Good morning, Abia.
Good morning.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
I can remember clearly that sometime last year, the governor, Dr. Alex Otti, unveiled the Abia State Orientation Agency with a call for a change of mentality and life in Abia State. That was where he was talking about the Abia hitting the reset button. You've been in the state, sir, and then everybody appreciated the fact that this agency was constituted by the governor of the state. It reminded the people that no society can develop unless such a society is transformed, adding that the agency represents the whole effort of his administration to bring about a radical change in the way things are done in the state. Well, let's start off quickly. I want to question, you've been in the state, sir. You know what's been happening in the state. The governor had his reason there of constituting this agency. Was there anything that was happening that you think could have informed the constitution of this agency before this present administration? Let's start with that, sir.
Yes, as a government, as far as I'm concerned, when you want to make your policies known to the public or to the people you govern, you must use a channel, because or else you'll just be operating in isolation. It's not all about news content. People know, hearing about you on news reports from radio, from print. I think that's not enough. Possibly the governor and his team decided to explore other means, which has to do with enlightening the people or citizens or Abians what the agenda is. And such agenda does not just mean just the government alone, but policies which the government want to push out in different areas, different parastatals, different ministry. That will send a kind of a direct communication between the people and the government to really know what the government is actually coming out with. And sometimes such a policy also help the government to really know if such policy is going to help the citizens or not. I remember orientation has to do with publicity or enlightenment, letting the people know what they want to do. So I believe the government, looking at, they just came into power, which are running, I think about 8 months now, or running to 8 months now. So they felt the need of letting the people know that this is what we want to do, this is what we intend to do, and this is our mindset. And if you look at the previous administration, I don't think we have much, or if there is anything like that, apart from some sponsored programs where guests are being invited to studio and they talk about the policies of the government. And in most cases, it happens only when there are issues. When you invite the government officials or those heading whatever agency or parastatals to come and defend or respond to a particular issue. But in this case, what I'm saying is that I think the government on their own, that is the present Abia State government, headed by Governor Alex Otti, is only trying to project his agenda or the agenda of the policies of his government to the public on time, and so also expect the people to have a mindset or a rethink of how things have been done before. I want them to cue in with how things are currently going to be run, or how things are running in his present administration. So that is why in his statement, if you can remember, he said the essence of establishing the agency was to change the way people live and behave for the better. And he also reminded them that no society can develop unless such a society is transformed. So the agency here represents that whole effort the administration is bringing to make that radical change on how things are being done in state. So I think that is just what the government actually want to project. And like I said, they must be expecting this feedback mechanism as regards responding, how people will respond to their policies or their actions. That will really help them to have a sense of direction in the administration.
All right, looking at this issue, you've been in the state, and then we have been following the government's policies and programs. Yes, the agency has been working, and it's been 8 months plus of the administration of Governor Alex Otti, not just him, across the 36 states in the federation. Would you say that Abians, residents in Abia State rather, are now understanding, or they've come to embrace and live with the agenda of this present administration?
From my point of view, as a journalist and as somebody who has been on ground, I do tour around Abia and Umuahia. I enter public vehicles and tricycles. So you listen to this. While I go to the market, even in some cool spot areas where you get feedback from how people feel about the current government.
When you say some cool spots areas, I don't understand.
Relaxation spots, even where you eat and take something. That is what you want to hear. Something cool and cool.
Okay.
So for we in the media, these are flashpoints where you can get information to actually enhance whatever you want to push back to the public for consumption and adjustment. So in this case, so far, the government, to answer your question, the government has actually looked at some areas. Let's take, for example, the area of environmental sanitation.
All right, I was going to come to that. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, the area of environmental sanitation. This agency was instituted August last year, if you take your mind back, between I think around August, mid-August to be precise. So far, there have been this sensitization about environmental sanitation, which is held on a particular last Saturday of every month. First of all, what the government did was to change the timing, which they brought it down to 7 p.m. from 7 a.m. rather to think about 10, 11 p.m. rather or so. So the point I'm trying to make here is this: when you move around the states, what is the change? I will take it. Let me give you a very good example, which is very close to your office.
All right.
If you know the popular Secretariat Road, the road leading to, I think that should be referred to as Ochen, the road, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
The road just which the present Secretariat is, the junction which is just by the entrance junction from Ikotep Benin Road. There used to be huge dump of refuse at that particular junction. And that, not just heap of refuse, there's a level of refuse you have there. You begin to see this smoke coming out from there. Sometimes that kind of smoke is not just because of somebody went there to ignite it or light, but because of the pile of refuse and the content of the refuse piled up there. And sometime last year, I did a report that has to do with that, where the refuse was even stretched down to the front of the secretariat building, which accommodates different ministries of Abia State government. But go there today, you don't see something like that again. How did it happen? I remember then, during that report, I also even took pictures how this thing can be related to. Then I remember one of the environmental experts then, or somebody who was in charge of a particular zone in the state, responded during the conversation that they don't want to use the police to hold anybody or whatever to make sure that place is clean. But today, what is happening there? Somebody came in. I can say the orientation is working. If you go to that particular zone, which you can just step out from your office, or the tricycle can take you there, you see for yourself and take pictures. If I pass through that road now and then to actually see how it is. A few days back on Saturday, I was at Aba, even at around area market. Yes, it may not be 100% okay with area environments and the Fox Road, but there's a lot of improvement from what I've seen. And this alone is not just the effort of those in charge of the ASEPA, Abia State Environmental Protection Agency here, but a deliberate effort also to sensitize these people, which I think the orientation agency have been doing. Take, for example, I during the course of investigation, I found out that they've been running jingles on radio stations to sensitize people on the need to keep the environment clean and other government policies. And it's not just done on that, it's also done in various languages. So for me, the communication has been effective, and that is why we are seeing these results. But know that I must say that they've not actually gotten it 100% right, because a lot needs to be done. Take, for example, there must be a program running, not just jingles, because you should try as much as possible to put up a program.
All right, we are still speaking with a colleague this morning, the publisher of Candid Reporters, on the Abia Orientation Agency. How effective has it been so far, so good, since it was constituted by the government of Dr. Alex Otti? And then the people's response too is another critical angle to this issue that we are tackling this morning on the program. Also, from your end, as a resident, as an Abian, would you say that you have felt the impact or the presence of the Abia Orientation Agency? Is it been working? How have you been responding? The messages, the calls, the signals that this agency has been sending, are you living with it? Are you imbibing it? Is it something that would contribute to building the new Abia agenda of the Governor Alex Otti? This angle we must address also on the program this morning. We'll still have him join us again this morning. The network has been something else, but we'll get him back to the program. Hello, sir. You're welcome back to the program.
Most thank you for having me back.
Sorry about that. We will know how to address this issue later on. It happens.
Yeah, of course.
All right. You were making a point, sir.
Yes, I just I said this with the agency orientation, Abia State Orientation Agency, they've not actually.
I wonder if somebody is somewhere manipulating that your point. You must make that your point known, because it appears you wanted to criticize something If that's the case, we must surmount this issue now for you to criticize, if at all you have something to criticize. You're welcome back. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry,
Can you hear me?
I was quarreling the network. Maybe I heard you were about criticizing something. Please go ahead, my brother.
Yes. Despite the fact that the agency have been doing a lot, which have been yielding results, but there is still need for improvement.
Okay.
And which one, I think, apart from giving the orientation to people via the broadcast media,
all right,
I think they should need to push it down to the rural area. It's not just the urban area, because some rural area, they don't even get to know about the policies of the government, which they can use to reach them. Take, for example, some communities, they can meet the village heads, the traditional rulers, and sensitize them. There can be a kind of a town hall meeting to really sensitize these people what the agenda or the policies of the government is on environment. It can be on education. It can be on sanitation. It can be on health, whichever. So if they go to these communities where possibly they don't even have, all radio stations in Umuahia don't get to the hinterlands of Abia State. So if they can get to these communities and actually speak with the village hall meeting, and before they do that, there is always a channel where they pass this information. They can use the town criers too. That is after sensitizing the village heads, come to agreement and terms with them. They sensitize the community or the villagers. They come together. They push this information to them. Then, of course, you will see that the message or the orientation will be driving deep into the hinterlands. So Abia State is not just Aba and Umuahia, then Ohafia and other developing different areas. Because the issue of environmental sanitation, for example, if there is any outbreak, those we suffer it the more, because station of how to make sure that good living.
Okay, sir. Can you hear me? All right, we've been speaking with Kingsley Alonso this morning, and then the network is...
They may not get break. You see it on the rural environment.
Okay. That's a critical...
That is another part.
That's a very essential point you have raised. That's a very essential point you have raised, because given the about 184 political wards in Abia State, in the 17 local government areas, how would this spread across these 184 political wards? What would be the impression and then the reaction of those, we can say, you find at somewhere at Item, Bende, you go to Ugunagbo and all of that? We'll talk about that much later. But at this point, let's observe our break and see a way of adjusting to have a seamless communication, sir, please. Okay. We'll talk to him later. This is Abia 360. Despite your political and ethnic affiliations, we still have the responsibility to build Abia State, our own state, the God's own state. Let us go on a short break. When we return, the program would continue.
Missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live with Rapid 96.5 FM at Rapid 965 FM on YouTube and Facebook. Catch the pulse of Abia State with Rapid 96.5 FM Umuahia, the sound of your city.
Christ for All Nations CFA, in conjunction with all Christian churches in Aba and Umuahia, announces Great Gospel Crusade
with evangelist Daniel Kolenda, the successor of evangelist Reinhard Bonnke.
Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Say amen.
Date Dates Wednesday 21st February to Sunday 25th February 2024. Venue Ngwa High School, Osisioma for Aba Region 1.
And Meteorological Complex opposite Obingwa Town Planning Authority along Omokaleka Road from Obikabe Junction for Region 3, all happening same time, 4 p.m.
Also on 29th February to 3rd March 2024 by 4 p.m. at two different venues. One at Akwara Square, Umahe for Region 4.
National High School along Porakot Road, Ugunabo for Region 2.
Featuring healings, miracles, deliverance, God's word.
Businesses will flourish again.
Come, listen, and receive the blessings of God. Jesus is Lord.
Abia is our own pride. From Abia North down to Abia Central and to Abia South, we all live as people in God's own state. Despite our political and ethnic affiliations, we must continue to build our state. Abia 360 brings you up to speed with the political, economic, cultural, infrastructural, and all-round developments in Abia State. Every Tuesday by 10 a.m. only on Rapid 96.5 FM Umuahia. Abia 360, building our desired Abia State.
Welcome back to Abia 360 on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city. This morning, since the Abia Orientation Agency was constituted in Abia State by the state governor, Alex Otti, has there been effectiveness of this agency? And we have been handling this issue this morning with the publisher of Candid Reporters, Kingsley Alozie. Sir, you're welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I was saying something about 184 political wards in the 17 local government areas in this state. The agency, you suggested that this could be achieved not until you come to the media. There are persons who do not even listen to the radio. There are persons that the reach of the radio does not get to where they are. So how do they also fall in this agenda of the agency to enlighten them and all of that? Another issue now would be delivering the message to the people at different local settings. Composition of who should do this. You said the traditional heads, town criers and all of that. In the case that one would say, we know we are different, we have different ideas. That's why this program says that despite where you belong to, we can build the state. Would this be achieved? We know that a government that has its party in place, if that government wants to do something, taking it down to the grassroots, they want to play that party representation too. Is it possible for this message to be sent across without bringing in discrimination, trying to say that you are on this divide, you are on the other divide, so we shouldn't involve you in this? Would this not be a challenge, sir?
It depends on the target. For example, if it has to do with a policy of the government, because we are not talking about a party here, despite being used, but despite political words being used, for example, to pass whatever message the orientation agency wants to push. But we are talking about governance. We're talking about governance. For example, an issue that has to do with attitudinal change to certain issues. It doesn't have anything to do with somebody who belongs to APC, PDP, Labour Party, or any other political party. It has to do with governance, orientation, mindset of the people towards achieving a better state. That is Abia State in perspective now. So if those pushing it to the word, if the government is using the word, just as you mentioned now, as stated then, that is the political words, I think it's just an avenue to channel their information, to reach the people. You know, these words are also found in various communities. So it's just a kind of a splitter group, which will help them to have proper organization of whatever they are doing. So it will be a target approach to reach their audience.
Okay.
Just like I said, some of these approaches, it may work in the rural area, it may not work in the urban setting.
Okay.
Not forgetting that even in the urban setting, they still have this communal lifestyle, because some villages are attached to these Umuahia and Aba, to be specific. So some of them still practice this kind of mode of communication. You hear them going around with town criers. I'm talking of in the cities now. This is especially in Umuahia here. So if it works, if the radio system works here in the cities, then other methods should also be applied to the rural area. Another part I would like to suggest is this. In the cities, apart from radio, like I said, people have choice of getting information from the media. There are people who don't own their radio set at all to get any information, even to listen to news. Some of them, those that don't listen to radio, they're reading the newspaper. I'm talking about the hard copy. Why some don't even like reading the hard copy? They are very comfortable with the electronic version that is going to the websites of these newspapers to read. Some of them even get their information on social media, provided the source is verified. So the point I'm trying to make here, apart from getting in touch with those in the rural environment through traditional means of communication, they can also do another approach apart from the radio aspect of it, where you play jingles and all that. First one, they should have a program. I don't know if that is currently running, but I know of that of the jingles. Get a program running. It may be 30 minutes. It may be 30 minutes, it may be 1 hour, it may be quarterly, depending on how the budget is, because orientation is not done with dry pockets. You must fund it with good money. So you, from time to time, you bring in guests to these programs, and once the guests give a kind of mindset or orientation of the policies of the government, then you expect a feedback through people, a phone-in program to be specific. People call in and tell you what they are facing, or the challenges they may be facing in their environment. They brief you, you know what to do. Another channel is you can still be issuing out leaflets or pamphlets to people on the streets, on the workplace, or you put it in very strategic locations. Even the use of billboards too, in strategic location in the streets or major roads, can also help to sensitize these people on what you want to do, or what the agenda or the policies of the government is going to look like. And it shouldn't just be in English language alone. You must focus on the language that will send the message to the people. Communication is key here. It's not just talking, but you want effective feedback from whoever you are talking to. That is the essence of communication, because if there's no feedback, there's no way it's going to work. And that feedback in this case has to do with how our Abians or citizens responding to whatever you are telling them. If you do a lot of work on radio and a lot of things being done, and you don't get that positive feedback, like I mentioned, we've seen it working, but you still need to push it further.
All right.
Because if you are in charge of these agencies and you don't do this as much as you can, it's not going to work, because people looking at the policies of the government, all who they know is Dr. Alex Otti, the governor of Abia State. There are people working with him. So everybody has signed or given a specific role should think out of the box, strategize, think of alternative means to help the man in charge to actually make sure that his policies are actually captured in whatever thing they want to do. If they are finding any policy difficult, they can table it in their meetings and present it to the governor. They have brains that can actually work and make this work out for them. It's all about Abia. It's not all about PDP. It's not all about APC. It's not all about Labour Party, but moving Abia to a better position. And that has to do with a good policy, which the government already have in their template. Somebody to push it out to the people. And you need an expert and the right teamwork of people to actually get this done.
All right, we can say for sure that the agency's efforts in terms of keeping the environment clean, we can say it's been achieved to some extent. Yes, I make use of the roads, I go around. I shouldn't say something that I have not seen. I agree completely. There's been an improvement in that regard. while the government is trying to deliver governance, there are other salient variables that will be confronting or mitigating against the government achieving its policies and what have you. Let's be sincere. Are there other areas in the state that the activities of the Abia State Orientation Agency would be needed? Sorry to say this, but I must put it up. Yes, I have the evidence. We got a call sometime last week that how do they call these people? One chance that's been happening in Abuja. Yes, in this state, I have the information, but I wouldn't want to mention the exact place. A colleague of ours was driven down to that place. His phones, money, everything on him was collected from him that night. So are there critical areas for us to have this dream achieved in Abia State, because it is Abia State, it is about Abia State, that this agency needs to bring its activities down to?
Yes, in most cases, some of these events, once events unfold, it draws their attention closer to whatever they actually need to do. You just mentioned of what you just talked about is security. So there should be improved enlightenment as regards the policies of the government on security. And so far, you and I can testify that there have been great improvements as regards a lot of revelation that have been made recently. The Lopanta axis of the state, which has become a major threat, have not been that for quite a long time now. But talking about the major cities here, just across the Abia tour, Amanchara to precise, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Abia State University was also kidnapped. And I think that matter is still on. And we don't know, I doubt if he's out yet. But if you actually listen to the live broadcast of the media pally, there the governor made mention of that particular issue, where he said there is an intel that those who carried out that kidnap activity, they are actually from outside the state, but the security agencies are actually on top of that situation to make sure that they actually get to the root of it. So that is on security. Like I said, it's a learning process. This government, despite the much they've achieved, I still see them as a government who is still learning. Most of them have not headed those heading some key positions now. Most of them have not had such opportunity before, while some of them are experienced, and those experienced ones are the ones to guide. So apart from the environmental aspect we talked about, they should still intensify efforts on other key areas like security, which you've mentioned, which have actually gotten a boost. Then infrastructure too. Most of these, if you go around Umuahia, for example, now, I think you should get to remember the current mission has to do with Operation Zero Potholes. We discovered that a lot have been done. And such key projects, such infrastructural development, you don't even need people to tell you that this is what they are doing. But because they are already seeing it. What the orientation agency needs to do here is to enlighten the people on the need to maintain that road.
Okay.
Take, for example, burning of refuse or tires on a road that was just tarred. It will reduce the lifespan of that road. Or pouring refuse on the drainage system of a particular newly reconstructed road. It will also reduce the lifespan of that road. That is the area the orientation agency have to come in as far as infrastructure is also concerned. Just of recent, we got to know from that media party that over 20 roads rather, we're also it's already going to be flagged up for construction. Not just doing the road. There should be that sensitization of, if this road is done or we are about to do this road, so and so axis may not be accessible and all that. Then after the completion of the road, there should be that awareness that you should not pour refuse or especially solid waste on a particular location, because flood will definitely push them to block the drainage of that road. The orientation agency can sensitize people in various languages and various modes of communication. Then their message will be very, very effective. Also, we can also talk about health. Health. Sometimes most people don't even know the health facilities or the health. Talking about these primary health care in their communities.
Okay.
The orientation agency can also do well to sensitize the people of making use of them before moving down to major hospitals in the cities. And they also have a role to also know if that healthcare center is actually properly equipped. If it's not equipped to take care of people living in that particular community, they can also do well to draw the government's attention to it. It's not just orientating the people this time, but also giving the government orientation about what is on ground and what is not on ground. By then, you see that they are having a formidable force to actually deliver the policies of the government.
All right, so we'll come down to the people because the people here, critical stakeholders to achieving any objective. The program is interactive. 09160,000 965 09160 333 965. Again, 09160,000 965 and 09160 333 965. Our phone lines are open at this point. Kingsley, let's get the thoughts and the feedback of the people as well on this program. 09160,000
okay, yes,
965 09160 333 965. Why we are getting the thoughts of the people. The role of Abians, citizens and residents in Abia State, in line with the Abia State Orientation Agency, is another thing we need to talk about on this program. What would you have to submit on this, sir? Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here with you. Please, I didn't get your question. Can you come back again?
Okay, I was saying.
Come back with the question, please.
Okay, yeah. The role of the people, Abians, residents, and citizens in Abia State, in line with the Abia State Orientation Agency, their programs, activities, and the objective of constituting this agency, the role of the people in achieving this thing, what would you submit?
Yes, the people play a very critical role here. Take, for example, we started with the sanitation.
Yeah.
The people should know that the government should not be everywhere. The orientation agency management or experts or personnel will not be everywhere. They have the responsibility of keeping their environment clean. Dumping refuse on the road is not something that you need the government or any member of the orientation agency to come and knock on your door or pay for radio programs or other things to do before you do it right. In civilized country, if you do that, you are being penalized. Take, for example, if you use there's this common habit of people, they fling things out of their vehicles while they are moving. Talking about the pet bottle, water bottle, and sachet, or sometimes peels, banana peels of what they've eaten inside the vehicle.
Kingsley,
just throw it
Kingsley, I will get your thoughts. Let's speak with this color. Good morning. All right. Yeah, Don Casey guy, you're welcome.
Hello.
Yeah, Don Casey guy, we can hear you. Good morning.
This is Don Casey guy from the Robo in Uganda.
All right. Good morning.
I think I totally agree in terms of sensitizing people coming down to the grassroots, which is very important, very needed at this point in time, because this issue of sensitizing the environment or state needs to start from the rural area. I know that the even urban area is also important also. So what I'm saying is, before now, during the previous government, these health officers, which called sanitation officers, they normally go to houses, checkmate on people how they manage to dump their refuse. So what I'm trying to say is, if they can work up again, doing that, because if you come to some areas, even your neighbors, they are also putting results. You see the way they are pouring all these things. You see the way they are putting pouring water and all this, which is not good to people living around there. What I'm trying to say, while we are coming down to the communities to sensitize them, and the health officers should start doing their work. But they normally see before going to homes, when they go there, be able to identify those people who are not placing their refuge well. When they are doing that, I think it is going wrong way. Then again, you wanted to say something. Another thing you wanted to say, I know that everybody is aware. There are some people who are sabotaging the force of these governments. And what is that? People, insecurity is returning back to Aga. That is a work of people who read this.
All right, run off. Conclude your points, please.
Let's check who will be going more than them. Individuals also report. Whenever you see people gathering to someone or people gathering to
all right, thank you. You have used your time already.
Everybody should be at their land in order to give a response.
All right.
That's my own suggestion. Thank you,
very much. We appreciate your time. Please keep it concise. We have other persons who would want to contribute on the program as well. 09160,000 965 09160 333 965. Yes, that is what the program is all about. Kingsley, let us come back to you. And I believe you listened to the last caller as well. Take it off from where you dropped your point, please.
Yes, we are talking about sensitizing the people or the role people play.
Yes.
Like I said, in terms of sanitation, you don't need anybody to push you around to do the right thing. In as much as you keep your room or your apartment very neat, you are supposed to keep your environment as neat as possible. Because you are only exposing yourself to other health hazards if you don't do that. You don't need somebody or environmental agencies to do that. I made reference to the Western world where it is your responsibility. In fact, you have waste bin possibly at the front of your house where you dispose your refuse and you take it up. But in cases where you see people push refuse to a major road, you don't need somebody to. It's all about attitudinal change. So we should have that mindset.
Hello, Kingsley, we've got a caller, please. Good morning.
Audrey Favor from College of Mine.
Audrey Favor, you're welcome.
Yeah, so people can help them to suppose the thing you could not money. Your voice and all of that is like your talented is really presenting. I jealous your friend. And then the guest, I want to thank you very much because people in Makasara Magazine, you talked about majorly one thing you said that I appreciate so much from you, Pastor, you can do Madamana, not to teach and with her, all the came because all my name in our topic, all my name in our team. Meanwhile, but I was for the new man, there are some new bad that are ministers also making provisions for them. So that one was not my core major point. And we talked about the fact that is knowing where to dispose debt so that it could not block drainage, which affect the quality of the road. So it boils down to even the government making provisions for drainages so that they can not get into food. And there would be a water flow which will affect the quality of the road. Now, for them, I can billboard. All that the Pamba is their information to pass sometimes. I just like that billboard. I just got something like 1 way, 2 kilometers within here. Often again, the billboard passing some vital information. Even Basra, Uza, and I handle any part of there. When I work this is not right.
All right. All right, thank you so much for your contribution. We truly appreciate. All right, thank you. Let's. All right, Kingsley, you listen. I'm sorry, you know how the business is. They are very, very important in the program, so we need to give them also opportunity. Please go ahead. You said in that when you say in a sane climb, it appears that our climb is not a sane one. All right, go ahead with your point, sir.
That's not actually in quote. It's not actually what I meant.
Okay,
what I'm trying to say is that
the
attitude we most Nigerians, not just Abians, apply while doing things. For example, somebody wakes up in the morning from his house, carry bags of refuse and dump in a major road. That is insane.
Do you know that thing almost erupted a fight yesterday morning. Yesterday was Monday, and I came out on time because of my news in the morning at Umudike Junction. You continue with your point, sir. Somebody from nowhere, and when I weighed the guy, he was still normal. He was orderly then, but he came in. He brought a bag. We started chanting. It was as early as 5:30. The guy almost fought about 2 or 3 of us that were there then. Well, I just needed to present that since you mentioned that. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so that's the attitude you are talking about here. Not just the residents I'm talking about. Even in the markets, the orientation agency still need to sensitize these market heads on how to educate their traders on proper means of disposing their refuse. Because if you go to Fox Road, which I use as an example now, there are markets, shops around that area. You don't say people who live in the residential area brought those refuse and dropped there. No. So there should be a need to engage these market heads if they've not done so already. Your last caller mention of appreciating the part that has to do with speaking various languages to actually attract people. Yes, my investigation had it that they actually have up to 9 languages which they push their jingles to the public. But how many radio stations? So how many radio stations? That should be a very critical challenge here.
All right, Kings, we've got to leave it. It's a large topic.
So the same thing.
Yeah.
The same thing can also be done if it on the part of infrastructural development. Somebody cannot just
another issue, Kings. Kingsley, another issue is why we send these messages, calls and signals to the people. Will they be ready to do accordingly? Because somebody almost fought us yesterday morning that why is it our responsibility? Why the advice that is not necessary? Why we told him that what you did at that point was not good. Can't you see how clean this point is? So the attitude of the people too, would they accept this? Would they practice it is another point?
Yes, that is the essence of orientation.
Okay.
This program that is on air now is still part of the orientation. Everything should not be left for the government. And another point you need to know is that everybody cannot reason like Moses Penn. Everybody cannot reason like Kingsley Alozie. So we differ in various ways. So the essence of the orientation is to channel their mindset, bring back their consciousness to the realities on ground. Because most of them have been living such a way all their life. For example, I don't care attitude. You can dispose refuse anywhere. You can block the drainage as you like. If you like, you can jump into a public school environment, defecate in the classrooms and go away, or go into classrooms, or vandalize whatever things you see there and all of that. So all these things, you must not need somebody to police you to do the right thing.
All right,
it's all about appealing to the conscience of the people through these channels which the government have so far been using. All I'm saying that there should be room for improvement to really push it on. We talk about a billboard, we talk about pushing it with various languages, which they've done on jingles, but it should also be done in various communities, meeting them one-on-one. So every mode of communication should be applied in order to enhance the effectiveness of that agency. By then, if they continue to do it, and consistency will also engineer them. If they are consistent and proper funding is done, I think they will meet the mindset or what the governor of the state intend to achieve at the end of 4 years administration. All
right, we'll continue with this issue next time to ensure that we achieve the new Abia. It's been a wonderful time with you, the publisher of Candid Reporters, Kingsley Alozie. Thank you for your time on this program. All right, Kingsley.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That's been the program Abia 360 today's edition. The program will make a return next week, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Until then, keep on doing your best. My name is Moses Ben. Good morning.
Abia is our own pride. From Abia North down to Abia Central and to Abia South, we all live as